Living in New York, I always tried to avoid Times Square. Taking the subway to 42nd Street meant a battle. The billboards, the noise, the people, overwhelming amount of people. Some asking for money, other offering you a show ticket, oversized cartoon characters offering a photo op. I had to run away. Taking a shortcut through the middle of the square, I was walking on Broadway in 45th, when all of a sudden, I stopped. There was music coming from underneath me. It wasn't the music of the theaters around me or the boombox in the corner. It was the music of the city itself, composed of its day-to-day elements. The subway, the car traffic, the ventilation system, all of them came together to create one little harmony. All of a sudden, everything in this crazy place made sense. I thought the city was playing just for me. I fell in love. Later, I've learned that what I've heard was a public art piece by Max Neuhaus. He built a machine that amplifies the resonance of the city's tunnel junction, as if he took all the pipes running in the metal grates underneath me and fine-tuned them to create harmony. It is still there. As a curator, I'm often moved and excited by art, but something else happened to me with this piece. For the first time in a long time, I didn't just hear the city. I've listened to it. And listening to it made me realize how beautiful and complicated it is. Made me appreciate the mess, endorse the chaos. This magical moment of discovery stayed with me when walking on other grates around Times Square and when walking on other grates in other cities around the world, finding little harmonies in all of them. It didn't just change the way I listened to cities. It also changed the way I think of art. It made me realize that seeing art in galleries and museums, when you're all ready and prepared for it, is one thing. But encountering art where and when you least expect it is a whole different experience. For me, the best public art connects me to the city, reveals something new about it. Since then, when art dares and goes outside, it's not enough for me that it will be nice or decorative. I want it to challenge me. Unfortunately, not all public art is doing exactly that. Most of the time, it's trying to beautify our streets, to calm us, to disconnect us from the mess in the streets themselves. We can look back at ancient Rome with beautiful sculptures of emperors, to contemporary public art with mosaics in subways, from abstract and colorful sculptures, to the flocks of cows and bulls and penguins that have been taking over our streets. Our cities are actually full of art. But how often do we stop, look at it, and think? For me, most public art becomes another visual distraction in a city that is already full of them. A bench, a billboard, a sculpture of a cow. Public art can do much more. It can make us think, doubt, understand our cities, maybe even our lives, in a different way. I expect from art in public space to intervene with my day-to-day, to question it, to defamiliarize me with what has already been taken for granted. How does it work? Let's think about paper cups. In 2001, I was working at Creative Time in New York, one of the world's leading public art organizations. We've distributed thousands of these paper cups in delis and coffee stops all around town. The cups were designed by artists who worked with scientists on the issue of cloning that was then burning up emotions everywhere. Remember Dolly, the sheep? Drinking your usual morning coffee, then realizing your cup is actually an artwork, one couldn't avoid the questions. How much DNA have I just left on this cup? What can be done with it? Though, as far as I know, no one have ever been cloned from his coffee cup sample, it was amazing to see that the garbage cans outside 7th Avenue Deli stayed empty. Nobody dared to throw them away. Not only did they understand this is a work of art, they also understood it's carrying their unique genes. It didn't take long before people started looking specifically for these paper cups in coffee spots around town, the same way I've been looking for the Max Neuhaus piece every time I go to Times Square. This moment of search is actually a very special one. It allows you to go around town with an open and gentle eye. It awakens your receptive senses. We are so used to close ourselves to the world, to turn off when we go out to the street. Plug our headphones in, put our sunglasses on, look at our phone. What are we losing on the way? What happens if we open ourselves to the world? When our senses are awakened, everything has a different meaning. The bench, the tree, the people, even railings. These railings are actually an artwork by British artist collective Grey World. They've been hiding them in cities all over Europe. Do you remember how, as a kid, you will take a stick and run it along the fence, enjoying the clack, clack, clack sound? Well, if you take your stick and run it over one of these railings, instead of the clack, clack, it will start playing the girl from Ipanema, tall and tan and young and lovely. I'm still hoping to hear it playing one day. Meanwhile, trying to find this piece, I've been running sticks on fences all over Europe, realizing the crazy amount of fences everywhere. Are they here to protect me, or are they here to restrict me? May it be railings or a coffee cup, our streets are political, and so is everything we put in them. But our streets don't only carry mundane moments. Our streets are political because they also carry some extreme situations in them. Accidents, demonstrations. What happens if we take the same tools and try to defamiliarize ourselves from the moments and images we are usually trying to avoid? Will looking at the situation from the outside make us understand it better? This is what often happens in the work of Israeli performance group, Public Movement, which I was lucky to work with closely as the director of Artport Residency in Tel Aviv. Public Movement are examining our reactions to extreme situations, like this one. In this piece, titled Emergency, the performers interrupt the city landscape with their own bodies to stage an image we all know very well from the media, a mass casualty event. Here, staged on the pastoral beachfront between Jaffa and Tel Aviv, this image confronts us with all of our fears without making us part of it. It's a disaster scene with no blood. There are no screams. No one is injured. The performers worked with the police, fire department, and first aid volunteers to turn the rescue ritual into a dance. While our nerves and fears are totally exposed, we might be able to start asking some questions. What am I afraid of? Why do I keep on looking? Who am I in this impossible dance? How do I control my fear? How does my fear control me? The performance is soon gone, but the image remains burned into our retina. Like with other temporary public art, it leaves a mark. It changes our view of these streets forever. Not all public art needs to shake us up, but ideally, it does need to keep us awake. More often than not, art in public space is trying to calm us, to disconnect us. Like elevator music, like going through a magazine in a dentist's office, it doesn't change the pain, it only represses it. Our streets could and should be much more meaningful through dynamic, thought-provoking public art interventions. A city full of people who are awake, connected, who are walking around asking questions, looking for challenges. A city full of people who are actively looking, listening, and believing is the kind of city I want to live in. Thank you.